You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight, Ram Madhav, who doesn't know him and his prowess in discussing international issues. Ram Madhav of the BJP, author and senior leader. RSS also, and of course, Sanjay Jha, suspended Congress leader, as I love to call him. Good evening to you, gentlemen. And Ram Madhavji, I want to start with asking you this. Imran Khan takes a dig at you. Sri Lanka almost in shambles from the visuals that are coming in from Colombo. Look at the United States, comes knocking to India. All happens in 1 week. Look at the UK officials. Look at the way Russia is making a beeline for India. And India trying to balance its own foreign policy in a very, very nuanced manner. And nobody so far is having a problem with it. The United States says, the big picture India is doing, we support it. Russia looking for friendship from India, but at the same time, India urging them to stop the war with Ukraine. Do you think this is a new inflection point in Modi's foreign policy?
Thank you, Navika. Undoubtedly, in the last 7 years, we have seen Indian diplomacy going places rather. India has gained in its stature, in its reputation, as you rightly described. Today, all countries not only come to seek our support or request us to take their side, but also respect our position. That is more important. You must note that these countries are coming and appreciating the stand that India is taking, while the fact remains that we are not siding with either the Western powers or Russia in this Ukraine cases, at least we are talking about. And even in issues like the current crisis that Colombo is facing. I just today morning returned from Colombo. There is huge respect for India, lot of hope from India that India will take the right stand, a principled stand. It would not exploit the situation in Colombo to its advantage, because there is a lot of talk about India's own interest being protected, national interest being protected. No doubt, every country in the world tries to protect its own interests. But India's approach is both about its interests as well as its principles. There are certain principles involved in all these issues, whether it is about neighborhood or the Ukraine crisis. On Ukraine, today you have seen, we have more or less indicated that we are against war. This conflict should end. This war should end, and diplomacy should take precedence over fighting. So our principled stand remains, while at the same time we are also securing India's national interests. This position is appreciated and also respected by everybody, both in Washington and in Moscow. I know many times in Washington press conferences, journalists try to corner the US spokespersons about India's stand. But US always maintained this position that no, we understand that India is taking a principled neutrality. It is not a neutrality that sides with one party. Some people can interpret this neutrality as supporting Russia, but even the Americans understand that it is not like that. We are taking a principled stand. At the same time, we are securing national interests. Therein lies Prime Minister Modi's very, I would not call it shrewd, but very principled diplomatic approach to global issues like these we are facing today.
Well, Sanjay Jha, would you like to actually commend the astuteness of this foreign policy, which keeps India's interest above everything? And even while Russia is engaged in its war with Ukraine, India has kept Ukraine on its side. India has kept Russia engaged. India is looking at its own interest, yet interests of a country that is being pounded by Russia, and being able to send its message across. I want to ask you, not many leaders would be able to balance this in the manner, and Russia, Pakistan, China nexus is something that India has to keep in mind when it negotiates with any of these countries. Do you think compliments are in order for the Prime Minister's balancing act?
Navika, my friend Ramji used the term principled neutrality a couple of times when he was responding to your question. And I will tell you how vacuous that whole claim. You have roughly around 4 million Ukrainians who have fled the country since the Russian invasion happened. 90% of them happen to be women and children. And guess what? India in the United Nations refuses and has refused not once but several times to condemn the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Now, you can't call this as a manifestation of a country that believes in universal human rights or being part of a larger international democratic polity. Now, the stance that is being taken by the Mandarins of the government is that, we are following the non-alignment principles or we are looking at strategic autonomy, no problem with that. But the truth is that when you have a situation where Russia is actually brutally invaded a country, and I'm not here trying to justify American hypocrisy. Navika, let's get this absolutely clear. The Americans have double standards is legendary. We're not even getting into that terrain. But the larger issue remains that if India is doing this because you're dependent on USSR arms, because we get roughly 60 to 65% of our arms import from Russia, then I think we are playing politics at a time when much smaller countries, which literally no stature the kind that was in the United Nations Security Council, are actually displaying any moral grandstanding position. And I think what Dilip Singh, who's the Deputy National Security Advisor of the US government, said cannot be ignored by Mr. Ram Madhav's government, which is that if you are believing that at this point we need to actually, try and make sure that Russia becomes some kind of a peacemaker if there is any Chinese expansion on our borders, then I think that is a rather, misplaced optimism. Russia today needs China, Navika, much more than it needs India. Let's be absolutely clear on that. China is bailing out Russia on sanctions, and by the way, even providing arms in all probability.
So what do you suggest India should do? Should it just sit back? Should it just sit back and follow what the United States says? Do you want it not to engage with Russia? What is your option? If not this, then what?
I'll tell you what Mr. Ram Madhav's government could have done. You see, what they did was they did not condemn Russia, but in a side statement, which is basically nothing but soft peddling, they said that we do believe that the territorial sovereignty and independence of the countries need to be respected. What the government of India could have done and probably should have done was to condemn the Russian invasion and at the same time talked about why Russia's national security concern or its security vulnerabilities on account of NATO's eastward expansion had to be equally respected. So I think there was an alternative which they did not choose. And I do believe that it is an absolutely security, shall we say, prone lapse that can occur, because I do believe China and Russia are in this for a long game.
Well, Ram Madhavji, Dr. Sanjay Jha really feels that India should have played better, condemned Russia. Do you think at that time, because everything is a function of the time, the moment, do you think that was the moment to say that? And do you think the fact that India was in touch with Ukraine and Russia, this would have happened not officially in a statement, but behind the scenes? I think you're on mute.
I generally avoid, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I generally avoid indulging in whataboutery. But since he talked about my party, let me remind him, when when Russia sent his troops into Crimea, his government was in power. Did they condemn it? Check the records. We took a stand, not just then, right from the time when the Americans invaded Iraq, on many different wars in the last a couple of decades, we took the stand that we are opposed to war, which we did even in this. He should read the resolution, is the statement of Ambassador Tirumurti at the United Nations Security Council. He very categorically stated that this conflict should end. We should respect the national sovereign borders. We should respect international rule of law, and we should go for diplomatic solution. So we took a principled stand every time such a conflict arose. Now, Mr. Jha's only point is you did not explicitly condemn it. You know, in diplomacy, we use different kinds of language to convey our sentiment. For example, I tell you, at the United Nations Security Council, Russia tried to steer a resolution on humanitarian issues, citing humanitarian concerns as an issue. But we refuse to support that resolution because we know that whatever humanitarian crisis has erupted in that region was because of Russia's invasion. But when the same humanitarian resolution was taken up by Ukraine, India supported that resolution. That shows that India is taking a clear position against the war. We are saying that this war should end. But in order for India to be able to play a role in this situation between Ukraine and Russia, India needed to take a very nuanced position, which India took. I think it is principled and it is a very mature decision, very mature way of handling it. It is easy for us to just say that why not explicitly condemn? Then, okay, you can do that, but you are taking sides. But in that scenario, you have to look at the history of what all was happening in Ukraine. There are many things that we do not approve of. The way NATO has conducted itself in Ukraine, the way Ukrainian leadership itself has conducted itself. But we did not want to get into all that. We decided that, okay, this conflict should stop. India should be able to play a role. Today, you look at the scenario, Russian foreign minister is in India. He is appreciative of our position. Americans, in their official statements, are saying we appreciate India's position. And today, Mr. Sanjay Jha has objection to it. It's a very funny situation. The Americans have no objection. The Russians have no objection. The Congress party has the objection. Our suspended Congress party has the objection. That is very funny. But having said it, it's a position taken by some people. Fair enough. I have nothing to say. But I stand by my view that it's a very mature position India took. And that gives India a great scope to play an important role in, in resolving this crisis.
Well, Sanjay Jha, let me also remind you that Russia is a country that respects Kashmir as part of India without any ifs and buts. France and US don't. Let me tell you that in the time that the UPA government was in power, it wanted external experts to help them resolve the Kashmir issue. That was the working group recommendation made in Dr. Manmohan Singh's time. I want to ask you, why should India go lock, stock and barrel in one direction when it can take a nuanced position and give a message to the world both ways, protect its own interests, stand against war, yet not capitulate to either the West or Russia?
Navika, the nuanced position would have been to actually be with the majority of countries that have condemned Russian invasion and actually at the same time underline the importance of Russian security vulnerabilities or their apprehensions on account of the US and NATO's expansion towards their borders by putting all kinds of missiles or maybe making Ukraine a member of NATO. That should have been, in my opinion, a more nuanced response. But let me tell Mr. Ram Madhav where he's wrong. He cites about history. Mr. Madhav, I'm fully aware that when the Congress was in power, it did not condemn the USSR invasion of Hungary, of Afghanistan, and for that matter, Czechoslovakia. I agree with you. But you have to also concede that that time there was no India part of board of a quadrilateral security authority. I mean, you're talking about a time when India has very openly courted America, hoping to be a critical leverage against China. And I think that, Navika, is the critical point that we cannot ignore. That is India today, and I do agree that diplomatically, it is a slippery slope, not an easy one to handle. Having said that, do you not risk a degree of diplomatic isolation that could actually escalate? Mr. Madhav says that America has officially said nothing. Sorry, Mr. Madhav, the President of the United States has used the word shaky. And in my opinion, that's a significant statement. Number two, and this is a factor that as a citizen, and I think Navika is a very senior media and also kind of like to ask you, what happened, any guarantee that you have that with the US being as unreliable as it is, and a Russia, China, Pakistan axis on the other side, have you really not boxed yourself into a corner? I mean, this is still to be navigated. I agree with Mr. Madhav that you're not seeing the end game on this yet because the war is still on. But I need to tell him in all frankness that as the violence continues, and we do believe that at some point Russia will have a final say on Ukraine, can India maintain the stance of its so-called principal neutrality and claim that this is a sustainable argument? I'm not so sure.
Ram Madhav ji, respond to Sanjay Jha before I add my own response to him.
First of all, let me make one very important correction. Quad is not a security framework. We are very clear about
China calls it Asia's NATO.
Wait, Mr. Javed.
China calls it Asia's
Your
NATO.
turn will come. Your turn will come. Your turn will come. We have not quoted America. Quad is the arrangement which is non-security arrangement very clearly. We have made that position clear several times. It's right now it's an evolving four country alliance, largely focused on development, peace, and certain economic and trade relations. So to say that since we are in Quad, we are quoting America, that language itself is not correct. Probably you should reconsider that position on Quad. But again, I'm saying, yes, maybe once the American president did use that word shaky, but many times the words that American president uses, the State Department scurries around to clarify what those words mean, how one should not misread those words. I appeal to Mr. Jha, don't read too much into those words. The American position has been repeated. It's not once that American side was questioned about India's position by the media. Several times the questions were raised. Every time America consistently said, we understand India's position. India has certain interests. Based on those interests, India is taking a position. We appreciate, we understand it. So it puts India in a stronger position, not a slippery slope it is. I'm telling you, today, Mr. Lavrov is here. A few weeks from now, 2+2 will happen. The American Defense and Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense will be coming. India will be asked to, take a more proactive role in, resolving this issue from both sides. We are on a position of strength, not on any slippery slope. That's what I just wanted to say. And on Quad, very clear, we are not on any military alliance with any country that is against India's principles, not today, not just Modi's principles. Right from the time of independence, we decided we will not become a part of any military alliance.
Sanjay Jha, also a point that you must keep in mind is the fact that all of these arrangements that have happened are something that's happened over the last 7.5, 8 years. And the Prime Minister has built India's stature in a manner where he is able to have his own elbow room to push through the diplomatic stance of India, keeping in mind India's priorities first, not be dictated by one power or the other in the world to follow what they have said. And when you make a case in point, when you say that the rest of the world said this, do you know, and you've written several articles, headline, what would the headline have been? The headline would have been not the fact that Russia's border engagements or border vulnerability should be kept in mind. The headline would only have gone across as India condemns Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which clearly means that India is bracketed with countries like the United States and others like countries in Europe, and that is not a place India wanted to be.
Well, Navika, let's put the record straight here. Mr. Madhav is right that the Quad is not a military alliance. Okay, but let me tell you, I don't think China really looks at it like that, and we must recognize that China has got a 4,000-kilometer long border with India, and we all know how unpredictable and dangerous it is. But Mr. Madhav, you know that China considers the Quad as an Asian NATO. And whether we are at the moment disagreeing on the television screen, I don't know why we are, the truth is that we are allowing ourselves to be played by America on Quad to thwart China's expansion in the maritime areas, which is in a way a very logical, intelligent step. But it also comes with this risk. And the risk is that if you have a Russia-China security arrangement, and remember they said so, that we are in a very strategic relationship, and you have today the Taliban, which I think China is working very closely with. So you have a Russia, China, Pakistan axis, which I think, in my opinion, poses a very dangerous threat. So probably have we become over-dependent on Russia at a time when maybe Russia may be outliving its utility from what it used to be.
Quick rebut, Ram Madhavji.
No, fair enough. If, first of all, what China says about Quad need not be what our standing about Quad should be. Since China is calling it a NATO, Asian NATO, Mr. Sanjay should not conclude that, it's a military alliance, which it is not. He also agrees. But the kind of concerns that he is expressing are actually very genuine concerns. I'm saying Russia completely going into the orbit of China is certainly going to be a matter of concern for us in South Asia and the larger, Indo-Pacific region. That is also one of the reasons why India should maintain that fine balance between taking a very hardline position, thereby completely going against Russia, or understanding that this conflict has roots in a history. In which even the NATO forces were equally culpable. Their role, the role they played, the way they promoted popular unrest against elected governments. Now, this has become a kind of a model in country after country, right from the time the Arab Spring. Everybody knows the Arab Spring was the handiwork of certain agencies of the West. And it started from there. It continues in Eastern Europe. It continues in Central Asia. Everywhere that same model is deployed. Then regions will become unstable. Then there will be certain militaristic reactions. We are not supporting Russia's war at all. But we also have to understand that there is this background in which we need to take a position which is even, I don't call it non-alignment like position. Non-alignment was a very kind of docile position. Here, it is a strategic autonomy position, a position of strategic autonomy. We take autonomous stand based on the strategic requirement of our country, but also the region. So in that, what India is doing is very correct, very mature, and very strategically autonomous stand we are taking. It should be appreciated by one and all.
Well, let's implore you, Sanjay Jha, to be a little magnanimous in saying that under the conditions and in diplomacy, in foreign relations, everything depends on what the current conditions are. And under the conditions, I once again ask you this question. Do you think Modi has exercised his personal equations and balanced India's needs, India's own interests in line with keeping its relations with both the West and Russia?
Navika, I will have no hesitation in conceding, and we all agree on it. Mr. Madhav and I may disagree politically. We are all very proud, patriotic Indians here. So the truth is this, that this is a challenging moment for any element of diplomatic negotiation that India is doing. It's not even if it was a Congress or a non-Congress government, it is a very delicate tightrope walk, no denying. The reason why I have tried to be the devil's advocate here is because we need to be extremely aware of the kind of risks that are currently prevalent. And I would therefore desist from any degree of triumphalism, or I would say that, talking about a doctrine, etc. is extremely premature for that. I just want to make one last point. Please remember that a lot of countries look up to India. We are now not just one emerging market economy. we have been a manifestation or an epitome of a great democratic, shall we say, credential. And I think we need to live by that. So yes, when you use terms like, we need to also ensure that we have a correct moral posture. We cannot dismiss that as, some kind of a soft approach to international politics. Not at all. That, in fact, might begin to become our biggest asset going forward. The soft power asset, our ability to be democratic, liberal, pluralistic, to fight for Ukraine's territorial sovereignty. These are important things. You don't want China today to use any flimsy pretext to invade India
that's a lot
and to
of
say
words.
that's what India said in the United Nations earlier.
That's a lot of words when you actually need to choose only between two very small statements. Is Modi's foreign policy mazboot, in favor of India, or is India making a mistake? You only need to choose between these two.
I will take both these and choose the third option. Has India missed an opportunity to really assert itself as a true international country that deserves to be in the United Nations Security Council and will stand for any country, irrespective of its historical name?
Ram Madhav ji, the party that refused a seat on the high table in the United Nations Security Council today suddenly finding fault with Modi's foreign policy?
Okay, fair enough. United Nations Security Council is, of course, one of the top agenda items for successive governments in India. I'm not saying just our government. And our government continues to pursue that agenda of trying to secure a position on the Security Council table. Irrespective of that, India is today playing a very, very important role. Its role in future is going to be much more important. Here, two things we must remember. Since Mr. Sanjay Jha is expressing a lot of concern about China, China has taken a very interesting position. In fact, Mr. Wang Yi was in Delhi. Let me alert Mr. Sanjay Jha. Wang Yi, in his 3-hour conversation, not even did once take up the matter of Quad. He did not utter the word Quad at all. So Quad is a different thing. We are dealing with that on a separate plane. Right now, what is happening in Ukraine is a battle for supremacy over Eurasia. You please remember. It is a battle for supremacy. Who will have the supremacy? The Western powers, which want to extend the NATO area of influence into Eastern Europe, thereby reducing Russia's influence, or Russia will be able to expand its influence over more of the East European and then slowly on the West European nations also. It's a battle for dominance over Western Europe and Eastern Europe and Asia, Eurasia. So in that battle, India has to play its card very carefully, because in this whole battle, one country which has to face the maximum consequences is going to be India, not America, not Western powers, nor any other country. It's India which is going to face maximum consequences. So India has to tread it very cautiously, which we are doing. I think there should be great appreciation of the role that the Prime Minister Modi and this government is playing.
Well, there is, at least in the country, but of course the opposition is entitled to its divergent view. They're seeing their own existence and support to their ideas every time there is a people's expression of who it really stands in support of. Well, we leave it at that. Thank you very much, Ram Madhav and Sanjay Jha, for joining me on the News Hour tonight.